The HR team just thought it wise for us to have this session, and I strongly believe that it's going to add to what we already know. So at the end of the day, we would become safer and more secured. So the objective of this presentation is to highlight some of the merits and demerits of social media, to recognize the sensitivity of security and safety related information, what to do if social media becomes the major access to information, especially in times of crisis, just like we witnessed a couple of days ago. Then we should also be able to, okay, so part of what we'll be looking at is we're going to have about 3 participants who will share their experiences, with a vivid account of, 1 or 2 scenarios. So this is deliberate so that in our various spaces and environments, we'll be able to share what impact the social media platform had, whether positively or negatively, during this crisis period or any other one for that matter. Then we should also be able to quickly assess any information received through the social media and know what to do. Lastly, we will have some tips on how to stay safe during crisis period. Now, good thing we are all teachers and we don't need to go through the rudiments of definition again, but as a practice or just to set the record straight, we all know social media to part of the um, most popular definition is websites and applications that enable users to create. The word create is highlighted red. We'll come back to that later. And share content or to participate in social networking. That's the simple definition of social media. Now, when we say create, as I used in the immediate past slide, we need to be very conscious of that word. The reason being that it is not everything that comes on social media that is original. And that's the word created, consciously, I'm sure was put there by the people who defined it. So people can come up after getting the original information or after putting up certain things, they can create it to suit the purpose for which it's their target. So that's why we must be very careful, and cautious with every information coming on to us through social media. So part of the merits is that it's one of the greatest modern day inventions. We all know that. It has helped us connect with each other and brought us closer. Thanks to social media, we are constantly connected with friends and family around the globe. At least we all saw what happened during the COVID-19, how information being disseminated and how efficient information were shared. Efficiently information were shared and, the positive effect it had on everyone's health and safety. Okay, so it also helped build social awareness on many topics, quite a lot of issues. So security and safety is one of them. Then it has also helped us to learn new things, make connections, and sometimes kill boredom. It's indeed a great social experience. However, with every rose comes a throne. The downside of social media are increasing. And of course, we will see that as we proceed. This is why taking precautions to stay safe and secure from the negative effects of social media is a necessity. Necessity for all, especially when we know that every information we have as we are disseminating or sharing with people, quite a number of people are getting more aware of that information. So if they are not properly processed and we release it out, it could cause a lot of crisis within the polity. Statistics has also revealed that Nigeria in Africa has the highest turnover of internet usage. By that, from the record, 75% of web traffic, has been reputed to be generated from or via smartphones, where while only 24% were generated via PC devices. Now, we're not going to the main issue. If we receive any information through the social media, these are the why, the words, and the how that should quickly run through our mind as individuals before we make a decision on what to do with that information, either to quickly run with it or share it or take necessary precaution. Now, the first thing that should come to our mind is, as the information is landing, there is this urge in people to be the first to break the news. It's in us, it's all over the place. In every situation, we want to be the first. We want to, most of us want to be the first to break the news, especially when it has to do with current events or current situation or any matter of public interest. We want to be seen as being on top of our game. We want to be seen as being in touch with the flow of information. So once we receive it, the first thing that should strike us is, must I share this information that just landed on my table? Then if I must share it, with who? Who should I share it with? What that means is that we are trying to create a consciousness in our mind on who and who should have access to that information. So we talk about audience here, the people that information should go to. Now, the next question is, okay, so I've decided to share this information and I've picked a few people that I should share it with. Then the next question should be, what if this information I want to share with them turn out to be false? What if it's not true? So by the time I share it with these people, will it not cause panic at the end of the day? And don't forget that for every person you forward this information to, they also have at least minimum of 3, 5, 6, 10 people, on their audience line that they have to share it with. So you can now see the multiplier effect of what you want to do. So it is very important that we properly assess that information, we review it before we make our decision on whether to share or not and who to share it with. So now the next question is, after assessing and we've realized, okay, will it cause or not cause panic? Then the next thinking should be, what are the likely consequences of me or of this information being shared with people? Is it going to be positive or is it going to be negative? Of course, every action has its own outcome. It could be positive, it could be negative. Now, after that, we now look at, can the receiver manage its effect? And that is why sometimes some video, data, or audio, usually there is always, especially video or picture, there is always a caveat attached to it: viewers' discretion advised. What that means is that it is not everybody that can manage the sight of blood, for instance, or the sight of a weapon, an assault weapon, for instance. There are some people, when they come around where shooting is going on, they may just faint hearing the sound of the gun alone. They will just go there flat. There are people like that. So there are a lot of sides to the effect some information have on people. So we need to be very conscious of that while assessing the information that lands on our table or on our phone, as it were. So part of the question we should ask ourselves is, can the receiver of this message I want to share or I want to disseminate, can they manage its effect, either psychologically, mentally, or otherwise? How well can I defend my action? For instance, if the information turns out to be false, or there are some distorted facts inside that information, and people start picking the holes, how well can I defend my action for sharing it without properly verifying the information? Then, how can this affect my personal integrity? Almost everybody, appreciate the fact that people respect their opinion on issues. They respect the statement or information coming out from them. So by the time you now share an information or a clip you receive on social media without properly running it through the mill, as it were, and it goes out there and it turns out to be false, then we are putting our personal integrity at stake as far as that issue is concerned. It then means that in future, even when you are trying to give out very important and credible information, people might end up taking it with a pinch of salt, because in the past the integrity has been damaged. How will it affect the reputation of my organization? This is also key, because there are some organizations around us, even all over the world, that when information come out from them or through their staff, people will just look and say, look, are you giving attention to this? Don't you know where this person works? So we should also be conscious of that aspect of what we are doing, because people know us with the organization where we provide services. So they know us with that organization. And you can imagine if we have 10, 15, 20 people from the same organization sending out information that turn out to be false, it also has an adverse effect on the reputation of our organization. Then, if after processing all of this, we also need to make a decision on certain actions to be taken, either to remedy, for instance, if it's an information that has to do with danger to life or to the environment or to our community. After running through all this process and we are convinced that the information is credible, we can go ahead with it. Then, if I release this information, what action should I take after sharing this information with you? What action should I take as a person for my life to be safe and secured? That is when we now go into, okay, so after this, okay, assuming I've taken all these precautionary measures and I'm going to take this action based on this information I've received, then how will it also affect my loved ones and other members of the community? Okay, so how does social media affect our personal safety? When you use social networking sites, please be aware that you are posting personal information. Once information is posted online, it's no longer private and can fall into the wrong hands. The more you post, the more vulnerable you become to those who may wish to harm you. By this, what we are saying is, sometimes you go to Facebook, for instance, when you click on other information concerning the owner of that account, you see every detail about their family life. You see it there. You know where they work, you know, all manner of things. Then you go to their general page. In fact, when he's stepping out of the house, he's putting it on Facebook. When he gets to the bus stop, he's putting it there. The day he's traveling out of the country, at the airport, the pictures are there. People can easily tell where these people are at any point in time, to such an extent that if, for instance, he's not at home, they know that it's only the wife and the children that are left back at home. From security perspective, this is not a safe thing to do, because we've realized over time through assessment and survey that some families that were attacked when the head of the family was away actually exposed themselves beforehand. Or some homes that were attacked. For instance, the family is going on holiday and there is a flow on their social media page, how they got to the airport, the day they are traveling, when they got to Amsterdam, when they got to Heathrow Airport, and all of that. So people who have access to that, or who are connected to those who are their friends on Facebook, for instance, We easily happens is they just come in, break into the house and steal their valuables. In the same vein, when they are returning at MMIA in Ikeja back to Nigeria and all of that, they put pictures, they put all manner of things there. I mean, you have people around in the neighborhood, people have been tracking them. They just go there and lay in siege for them, wait for them. As soon as they come in, where are those dollars you brought? Where are the pound sterling? So they attack them. So sometimes unconsciously, because we want to, belong to what is happening in town, we give out a lot of personal information about ourselves, which eventually expose us to unsafe condition. Now, being conscious of how much information we release on social media, especially certain private information, it's usually a prelude to a crisis period, because it is because people are aware of certain information about us. That is where they have access either to attack us or to carry out whatever sinister motive they have against us when crisis comes. We are all witnesses to what happened over the last few days. Sometimes, I mean, some of us, I mean, if we heard, when we heard that some places were attacked, some places were broken into, we'll just be surprised that how come. So these people were already aware of the happenings in those locations beforehand. So the crisis in town, they just moved in and um, took advantage of the situation. So for personal security and safety consciousness, we should keep personal information private, just like we said earlier on. We shouldn't go on social media and share very private or personal information about ourselves, about our families, especially are happy. I mean, you go on social media, you see people displaying, things that when you just pause and look at it, you realize that this person has given himself or herself away, for a crisis period attack. It's always good if we know our neighbors. When we know our neighbors, we know the caliber of people in the neighborhood. So we'll be able to know how to relate with them, especially when crisis comes. For instance, if you live in a neighborhood and you know there are hostile neighbors around you, when there is crisis in town, there is no point running into their homes. Their home can never be a safe haven for you. It's good if we try to know our neighbors, not by fraternizing with them, but at least by knowing what is going on around them, the kind of family they are, what they do, and all of that. Then it's always good for us not to reveal information to people unless they need to know. Even people living around us, some of our immediate workers, it's not every information that they should know about us, because sometimes, I mean, experience has shown that most of the very personal or private information that gets out into the public space were actually revealed by some of our domestic staff or the people who work around us. And the reason is very simple. Some of them want to impress the people they relate with in the neighborhood by simply letting them know how close they are to us. Okay, so you hear things like, when he came in last week, if you see what he bought, he came in with so much money, he was just throwing money around and all of that. He's just giving that information out with a mindset of somebody who is close to you. He did not mean to harm you. But because you've exposed yourself to him, the next thing the person is giving that information to picks it up. He also goes to a place and carelessly, maybe a social circle where they're having a drink and all of that. So he just gets there and start talking. You don't know who is around. So they just pick that information. Oh, okay, so we have been here, we've not eaten for so many, and somebody has dollar in that down that street, and we are here. So before you know it, sometimes when they knock on people's door and say, where is that money? Some people are usually taken aback. They won't ever remember that they've at some point given themselves out through the way they treated personal or private information. Then if people need to work for us, we should always have a background check on them. It's very important. We should have, there are a lot of security organizations around now, private security, that conduct background check for people for a token. What they look ordinary, but on the long run, it provides so much information about the person you want to hire. A lot of people look very saintly, very nice outwardly, but they have a very terrible background, security background, such that at the end of the day, by the time the professionals go into checking or carrying out due diligence on them, you'll be shocked with the quantum of terrible information they have about them. So at that point, you just make your decision. You don't need to hire such people, because at the end of the day, the family is not safe, the environment is not safe, and every information that they have access to is out there, and we just get into wrong hands. Then we should also always remain alert at all times, and we should never get distracted. We shouldn't allow people to create an impression that our life is so safe in their hands. Now, still on social media, by now we all should realize that sensationalism is a tool in journalism. Social media is an aspect of journalism. I'm sure we all know that. So sensationalism is a tool for attention and traffic. I can give an example. Just 2 days ago, I was on a platform, a professional platform. Somebody just dropped a message there. When I opened it, I read it. The message came with an attachment. I just quickly opened the attachment. I ran through it. I read the document that was released by the company that report was trying to broadcast. After reading it, there was no correlation at all between what that document, the release, official release signed by that organization, there was no correlation between that official release, the content of that official release, and the highlights displayed in the information shared by the person who tried to broadcast it. And I immediately took the person off. I said, I've just sensationalized this information. I've read it. This is what it contains, and this is what you have put on the highlight. So the person got back to me privately and said he was just trying to draw attention. And I said, no, it's wrong. Somebody who will just look at the caption alone will just go haywire. It's not everybody that has the patience to run through every readable document, attached to an information. So we should be very careful. Usually, I don't take the title or the caption of any story for the content. If you keep that open mind, your objective when you are picking up an information, and you just look at so let it just be an attraction. It will attract you, but don't run with it. Don't run with it. Go into the details of that. At the end of the day, you just realize that there are two different things. Okay, so sensationalizing is the presentation of stories in a way that it is intended to provoke public interest or excitement at the expense of accuracy. Accuracy is the watchword there. Okay, so if it is sensational, the information there may not be accurate. And we should also note that if it is not accurate, the story itself may be fake, or the caption is fake. So it's either of both ways. And of course, by now, looking at what has happened globally and to us in recent times, just behind our backyard there, fake news kills faster than bullets. It kills faster than bullets. Let's try to always verify all news before sharing. Let me just pause here and say something from experience. A couple of years back, there in Lagos, after some crisis here and there, I was walking down the streets one day with a friend, and that my friend is a mischief maker, very mischievous young man. So he said just watch out. I'm going to do something now. Watch out. I was just wondering. I said, look, what's your problem? We were working together. The guy just started running suddenly somewhere, down Mushin area. The guy just started running without prompting, nothing. He just took off and started running. Before I knew what was going on, everybody on that street started running. In fact, there was commotion all over the place. So what saved him that day was that when he ran, of course, he knew what he wanted to do and he knew how people would react. Apparently, he had seen somebody do it before or he had done it somewhere. So he now ran, he went and hid himself. So people were like, some people had run over 200, 300 meters before they stopped and turned. So they now looked, they were like, what's going on? Me, I was just walking, I didn't even bother. So some of them now walk. I say, what happened? I say, where? He said, somebody just ran and everybody was. I said, look, people were running. You didn't even know whether the direction you were running to was where the danger is. So you should have at least checked what the issue. So when I now caught up with him, so I had a conversation. I said, look, what you did, a lot of people could just get into trouble, safety trouble with what you did. There could be stampede, anything to happen. I take you back also to the incident of bomb in Lagos, the bomb incident, sometimes I think a couple of years back at Maryland cantonment here. Majority of the people that died and sustained serious injuries from that incident did not fall victim because of the direct effect of the bomb. But it was because of, one, people didn't know what was going on. There was panic, there was fear. So most times people who orchestrate or create fake news, that is one of their major focus. They want to cause panic. They want to cause fear so that there will be commotion within the community or the society. So it is very important for us to assess. Once we know it is fake, we should discard with it. And of course, we should also play a role. Shouldn't we just discard? Once we are sure we verified, we also, as we move on now, we'll see what steps to take to verify news. So, I mean, any information that is coming to us from social media space. So once we are aware that we've done due diligence and it's confirmed that the information or whatever it is, the content is fake, we should immediately start reaching out to people and letting them know so that they will not also, it's not everybody that has that maturity or mental capability to carry out due diligence on things. So once we do it, now that we are aware, we are more informed, we are better positioned to reduce the effect of that fake news within our society or community. Nowadays, social media platforms enable people and organizations to provide information about a crisis effectively because they represent the new way of communicating. There's no doubt about that. It has really helped us so much. But in the same vein, where information coming there are not properly managed, where due diligence is not conducted on those information, it has also caused a lot of havoc within the community. Digital, computerized, and communication technology that allows networking in the fastest and most efficient ways to different audiences simultaneously. It has a wider outreach and is spontaneous. It goes out there, boom, whoever picks it that period. Can imagine sending a picture or a video clip to a platform where you have over 300 members immediately, unless they are not online. If they are there, they pick it up. The next thing, like I said earlier on, one of them will have his own 10, 15, 20 people. He may even have another platform, a social platform, a religious platform, a family platform, a community, name it. So in less than a minute, 2, 3, 5, the information is all over the place. Okay, so we need to be very careful and conscious of all these facts. Social media has the potential to influence the manner in which individuals think, behave, and respond to information and situations in general in times of crisis. It has a way to influence, really. For instance, if I'm getting an information about an incident from a professional colleague, chances are that I will take it very seriously. Okay, if I'm getting it from a friend who has not, you know, shared false information with me in the past, I would take it seriously. Like we said, the mental capability of the person receiving it is also key. The mental capacity to process and understand informed decision on the steps to take with regards to that information. That's number one. Number two, does he even have the resources? Does he have the resources, both material and him to verify? So we should be the one. If the information is coming out from us, we should. If it came from somebody else, and we're able to call up the person, and the person say, "I just picked on another platform as I should share with you. Please stop first. Carry out due diligence on it, and be sure it is credible before you share." Now, what people have put together, the experts have put together in summary, is what we have on the screen now. Things that we need to watch out for us to spot fake news. Number one, we should consider the source. Click away from the story to investigate the site. Once it drops on us, we look at it, take it aside, then we need to investigate immediately the site that information is coming from. That's the source. It could be a website, it could be somebody sharing with us, and all of that. Okay, then what is the mission of that information? Why is it coming to us at that material time? What is the person trying to achieve? So we need to be circumspect handling that moment. Okay, then we should also try and quickly do an analytic review of the author, the person who sent it, or the person who created it. There are two different things. Somebody may have created that information somewhere, so the person sent it to you. So if in the case of some information, you will see the person who created it. So let's check who that author is. Is he a credible person? Are they real, or they are just using, to send out an information and the identity is not real? Itself may not be genuine. Then we should also try and check the date. 2 days ago or 3 days ago, when the issue of crisis broke out in town, then somebody posted a video clip where one of our former presidents was running. Was at the airport, was on his way out of the country at the international airport. So somebody carried baggage, they were running, and somebody just quickly put it on the way and say, so person and a former president of the country is already running away because war is about to break out. To break out. So when I looked at that thing, I remember I had seen that clip a couple of years back. So I just quickly, checked on it. So I now went back to that, a professional platform for that matter. And I went there and I said, look, this clip you just released now is mischievous. This what happened when this clip was recorded. It was when this man left office and was going for an official engagement or mission for African Union and all of that. So some people came up to support what I said and all of that. And of course, and everything, they were there. So we were able to douse that tension. Then you should also check what your biases are. It's very important. Sometimes we react to things out of emotions. For instance, if an information is released on the web or on internet and it has feminine touch, chances are that a lot of women will be more interested in it. They will also want to react, especially if it's something that affects their femininity, or personality. So they will react more. So check your bias before you take it up, so that emotions will not override sense of judgment. It could be religious, it could be social, it could be anything, whatever affiliation it is. Emotion is the watchword there. We should be very careful. So just like we said earlier on, headlines can be outrageous in an effort to get clicks. Then what is the whole story? Because they want to drive or attract traffic on their website or on their platform. So they just put something there and down. Whereas the caption is totally different from the main story. So we should read beyond the highlight or the headline so that we'll get the details. Supporting sources. We should be able to determine if the information given actually supports the story. Okay, so what that means is that somebody is talking about Nigeria, and by the time you go deeper into it, you are seeing something that has happened in Rwanda, and or some of the names in the material has no link or relationship with Nigerian names, given our ethnic grouping and all of that. So you should be able to know immediately that, oh, they just try to bring this together to score a cheap point. Now, sometimes there's some information that look so real, but yet they are jokes. We need to be very, very careful about that as well. So if it is too outlandish, it might be satire. Research the site and author to be sure. There are some people who are known for, so for instance, some of these are comedians. When they drop certain information on Twitter or on some of these other social platforms, when it's coming from any of them, the first thing that should strike us is, oh, he's trying to make a joke out of it. Okay, so we need to process it. And of course, it may truly turn out to be a joke. So it will be too bad if most times when we want to send out information that we receive, we want to put a rider on it, we want to put our own comment on it, so that people will know where we belong, or they will know what our thoughts are, or they will know our bias for it. So if it's a joke and you're already making, a true story out of it, and it goes out, we should not forget that there are people around us who may not even read the original content. They will rely on our own caption or our own comment or remarks we have attached to it. That's what they will run with. And at the end of the day, we just realize that we created confusion. Then lastly on this, another way to go about it is asking the experts. At any point in time, we should have people, our go-to person. That's the easiest way we could put it. Our go-to person on certain things. If, for instance, I'm getting information on something that has to do with recruitment, apology, I'm using this as an example. I don't need to ask anybody. I'll just quickly call either Mrs. Odunaya or Mr. So it's an HR thing. Oh, I just got some information. Can you please educate me more? What are the facts and all that? And they'll say, oh, no, don't mind them. I think this is not right and all of that. So they will do that. I'm getting information about, we all know them. So let's talk to the experts. So if it is security, you have a brother who is into security practice or a friend, whoever, schoolmate and all that, you can call them up immediately. So, oh, gentlemen, sorry, I just got information that they broke into a bank last night, and the person will say, no, as I'm talking to you now, I'm even with the branch manager of the bank you are talking about. We just have a conversation, and if that ever happens, I'm sure he would have mentioned it to me. So we can go on and on and on. So we all know them, and we know how to handle that information. Let me just pause here, and I'll ask the moderator to help us to get some feedback from people. We want to know who want to share experiences, what social media have done to them, either personally, either before this crisis, during this crisis, or to people that are close to them, that maybe it took them time to realize that they shouldn't have taken the message the way they took it. So we can have 3 or more people. So after that, then we run through the remaining slides before we go to question and answer. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Okay, this is Uju Eluwa. I'm so sorry I joined in a bit late because of network. I kept trying and trying, and thank God I continued to persist. That's why I'm here. Okay, concerning
Okay.
what he said, I got a video yesterday, and from the video that I got, though I haven't verified, I haven't done anything, I just got it yesterday night. Somebody, I don't know, I've forgotten the name of the person, but from the video, he was telling all the Igbos in Lagos, in Yoruba states, that they should all leave. That he's giving us 28 hours to leave Lagos State. That as from Monday the 26th of October, that they will start dealing with Igbos, that they will stop any car, any vehicle, and they will check. And if there's any Igbo person, that the person will be dealt with. That created panic in me, though I haven't done anything because I have power issues. We haven't had light for the past 5 days. So I want to ask instructor what I should do. How do I verify that? How do I know if it is true or not? Because I will not lie to you. I'm still so scared because I have my whole family here with me in Lagos State. I don't know how true it is. And he didn't even cover his face. He was so mean. He was so serious, saying that as from Monday the 28th, 26th of October, that they are going to deal with anybody that is from Igbo land, the eastern part of the country. So what do you suggest I should do, sir?
Okay, thank you very much. The
Thank you,
first
sir.
question, yes, usually I I'll be lying if I'm here and I'm saying I didn't receive that video clip. I also received it. A young man who was in one room like that and all that. Now, the first question is one, the first issue is one, that guy did not make that video from Nigeria. At least that has been confirmed. Two, if the guy wanted all the Igbos to leave because he's a Lagosian or is from Southwest, has he also asked his brothers and sisters who are in the Southeast in Igbo land to also leave? That's the second question. Number three, as soon as that information, that video was shared, we, as part of duty of care and what we do, it was immediately forwarded to the appropriate. We are rest assured that everything has been taken care of as far as that view. So I can tell you for real, you don't need to be afraid of anything. He's just seeking attention. Don't forget what we said when we started this conversation. What they usually do is they want to cause panic, they want to cause fear, and they want to draw attention to themselves. Okay, so he's not going to get any of that. But unfortunately, because most people don't have access to where they could make this verification, especially of this kind of claim. Okay, so in addition to that, let me also tell you that I think either on Tuesday or Wednesday, I also got a clip, an audio clip this time, from somebody who purportedly was sending that information to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu of IPOB and telling him there are some buildings in Festac, 42 Road. They have all manner of things. He said a lot of funny things there. And so everything he said here to a layman sounded genuine and reasonable. By the time we subjected the claims there to integrity check, actually, the minute I picked, somebody forwarded it to me. Immediately I picked it up. I had somebody who's a senior officer in DSS. I just forwarded it to him. I said, look, I don't want to share this on our professional group platform because of its sensitivity. Sensitivity in the sense that, of course, we are diverse as far as Nigeria is concerned in ethnic and tribal background. We are so you have a platform where you have Hausas, you have Igbos and all that as professionals, and you are dropping an information that you have not verified, but could create a whole lot of wrong impression or signal. So what I did was I just fetched one person that I've watched his track record and I know he's a detribalized Nigeria and he's a professional and he has, inroad or imprint within the DSS circle. So I just shared information with him. I said, look, this is what I have and I don't intend dropping it on a professional platform. So can you, while I'm trying to verify on this end, can you also try immediately just go back and say I just forget about this. It's a crap. You now start analyzing to me, that location, that the person who released that thing is still living in the past, maybe about 30 years ago. That all those things he claimed are in that place are no longer there. Okay, so that was what happened. So it comes in different shapes and sizes. So if you have not verified or you have no means of verifying, I'm telling you as we speak that that clip is receiving attention at the national level. Don't forget that people are paid on this. I mean, they are paid for this. That's how they earn their living, to ensure that these kind of things are taken up. They will investigate and take appropriate steps. So there's no need to panic. Feel safe, feel secured. Just ensure you continue to work with the personal safety and security tips that you have and the one we are going to give. Once that is done, and you remain a law-abiding citizen, of course, so you have nothing to worry about.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. You're welcome. Hello, good evening.
Okay, I just have this question. Although you said there's no way we are able to verify if this information that we get is correct or not. You said something like that, right?
Can you come again, please?
You said, there is no way we are able or we can verify if all this information we get on social media, if it's correct, if it's true or not. If it's
No, I said we may not be able to totally verify all of them. But before we start sharing it, before we start broadcasting it, we should make efforts based on those things we highlighted in the course of the presentation.
But is there, how can we verify? How can you, from your own experience as a security expert?
Okay, for instance, if it is security related information, if it's an information that poses security threat or risk, when I pick it up, I have affiliation, I have professional colleagues, I have people in service, various services that I know, have either mechanism, structure, or equipment to carry out that investigation, to be able to assess and process it. So immediately I pick it up, I send it to them. While they are doing it, if it's something that directly affects my space, either where I live or where I work, I will quickly, based on that threat issued, I quickly put what we call a security operating level in place, just to be, to get comfort to such an extent that, should this thing even happen, I won't be caught unawares. Now, that is for my workspace. And that's why I remember I made an example that if I get something that has to do with job, recruitment, and all of that, so before I start giving it out, and I'll say, let me talk to my people in HR. I even mentioned your name. I said, I'll talk to Mr. Dunaya, talk to Okwe, talk to Mr. Bamidele or Mr. Solomon and all that, because you are the SME, subject matter expert in that regard. So when you look at it, you say, no. There is no way a reputable organization will word their job advert in this manner. Please disregard. So I've done a due diligence on it before I will now. So once you say that, I just discard it. It will be better for me to have done that than immediately I pick it up and I send it to my family, friends, and I end up raising their hope for nothing. And of course, in the event of even trying to do that, they may even get into the hands of people that will scam them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, and it comes with every profession, every endeavor we may be involved in. So if it's something that has to do with health, we should have a doctor, friend, brother, neighbor, colleague around us who we can ask to assist in verify. If it is something that has to do with safety, all manner of things, we should at least have one or two persons which I call a go-to person, somebody that we can go to assist us in checking. And most of the time, when we get to these people, they'll just say, oh, this one, I got this in 2 weeks ago. Don't mind it. Or, oh, okay, this one, what I got was different, but they are towing the same line of thread. You know what? Okay, let me add it to it. We're already working on it. Give me 2-3 days, I'll get back to you. So that period, we should not allow the urge to be the first to break or share the news to hold us to such an extent that we now end up releasing that information, only for us to realize later that it was a fake information.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fasasi.
Sorry, I have one question, please, Mrs. Odunai.
Okay. So after this question, we'll round up so that people can go and think over what they've learned. Okay, Mrs. Mankole, over to you. Your question, please.
Okay. So good evening, Mr. Fasasi.
Good evening.
It's just a follow-up to the question Mrs. Odunai just asked. So can you just tell us what we should do? And I'm sure you've covered it, but just as a recap, when we receive, things on social media that, are meant to scare us, and they do scare us. So what do you advise we should do? We know that we're not supposed to just send it to everybody, but what should we do? So if you could just go over that, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, basically, once we receive it, no matter how volatile, how dreadful, how threatening it may appear or sound, the first thing we need to do is to calm down. Okay, so calm down, look at it again. Then, one, who is sending me this? Who is this person? Why is he sending it to me? Or who released this? If, for instance, you are seeing it on somebody's status, in the case of WhatsApp, or somebody's page, in case of Facebook, who is the person who is releasing this information? So when we look at it, these are things that can happen in a matter of minutes if we show interest or give the required attention. So when we look at it, it is this person. I remember 2-3 weeks ago, he said something and he came out and apologized. I remember 3 days ago, something came out for him, somebody debunked it and all of that. So that has at least cut off some part of the credibility as far as that information is concerned. Then, the date it was originated, it was created, if you have the mechanism to do that. Okay, then, like I said, your own bias as a person, this thing, can it be true? What is it talking about? Is it possible from my experience and from what I know and all of that? Then, is it a joke? Is this person cast? There are some things that people throughout there, just like what I said earlier in my example. We are walking on the street and a friend just started running, and people started running without necessarily knowing what triggered the run, only for them to realize that nothing was chasing after them. So when we have done all of that, then we now look for an expert, somebody who has subject matter expert on that, the subject matter of that information, of that thing we just picked up. You just call the person up or send it to the person. Look, I just got this. Can you please look at it? Two things may happen. Is either the person has not heard about that thing before you just call him, or he's already aware. You just tell you, oh, this one, please don't mind them. I'm ready. And sometimes we should not stop at that, because sometimes people play things down, especially when they don't know what to do or how to go about it. Okay, so if we have one other person by the side, just to double check, we can do that. But more often than not, what people do is once they receive it, the urge to be the first to share or break the news grips them, they throw it out. So when they throw it out, it lands in the hand of people who don't have this requisite knowledge we just listed on how to process the information. So to recap again, we need to calm down. Let's not allow emotion to hold us immediately. We'll just pause, look at it, just like the emotional stress person told us yesterday, that most times when we find ourselves in that kind of state, we shouldn't do the first thing that comes to our mind. Okay, so like I said, the first urge is, let me quickly share with my friend, my brother, my sister, and all of that. Let's not do it. Let that not be the first thing we are going to do. Tips on how to survive a protest. Of course, we don't know what lies ahead for us, in the coming days. But in the event that there is another protest in town and all of that, and it gets out of hand, if you find yourself caught up in a protest or riot, keep to the edge of the crowd. Don't stay in their midst. So stay where it is safest. Try not to be identified as one of the demonstrators. by keeping well away from the leaders or agitators. Okay, so you don't know who is watching, you don't know who is recording, and at the end of it, you may just be sleeping in your house when they just tap you and say, come, we are part of the people that went and set that building on fire. At the first opportunity, please break away and seek refuge in a nearby building, or find a suitable doorway or alley and stay there until the crowd passes. When leaving the fringe of the demonstration, just walk away. Don't run, as this will draw attention to you. Just swiftly walk away. Don't. When you run, everybody will turn your direction, and they may even chase after you, thinking you came to plant something that will harm them and all of that. In the event that you are arrested by the police or military, do not resist. Go along peacefully and contact your family or friends immediately. If you are caught up in the crowd, stay clear of glass shop fronts, because once that happens, the first place that will attract, for those of us who saw the video clip on of Adino Ogunsoya and Bode Thomas, where shops were looted and all of that, it was easy for those hoodlums to break into those shops. Stay on your feet and move with the flow. Okay, so it continues. If you are swept along in the crush, create a space for yourself by grasping your wrist and bracing your elbows away from your sides. Bend over slightly. This should allow you to breathe, to allow you a breathing room. If, for instance, there is a stampede and all that, and the unlikely or the likely event that you fall down, people fall over you, just try and support yourself with your elbow and all of that. When you get up, breathe very well, then take yourself to safety. If you are pushed to the ground, try to get against a wall and roll yourself into a tight ball and cover your head with your hands until the crowd passes. Remember to keep calm. The crowd should sweep past in a short space of time. Yes, if they are surging, if it's a procession and they are just surging like that, just keep calm. In no time, they will walk past. Well, they are coming from somewhere. They've left that place. They will surely leave where you are. So don't panic. Don't, just ensure where you are is safe for you until they go away. If shooting breaks out, drop to the ground and cover your head and neck and lie as flat as you can. Bullets most times fly, on a certain level, except it's a direct blunt. If it's a direct, if the muzzle is directed at the person point blank. But if it is, the usual shooting that happens at dry ground and all of that, it usually flies past. So if you take cover properly, there is high chance that it will not get to you. Then another thing that is happening at this period is where we have stray bullet hitting people and all that. So for personal safety, if you have nothing to do outside, please stay indoors. For whatever reason, don't step out for that period. If you are hearing shooting around your area and all that, do not stay too long at bus stops. Take a timely decision if you want to take a cab. Make your decision quickly, or you have to go back home. Please take that decision. Delay could be dangerous. This is also a good time to see people off by trekking long distances before getting a cab. If you have a visitor and the person is going, if you can't drop the person off and you need to get a cab, thank God for all these space services, Uber and all of that. Just call them. They can even pick them up right from the front of your gate, and you keep your peace. For those driving personal vehicles, the more you stay away from high traffic areas, the better and safer at this time. Because when you are head up in traffic, the risk ahead gets more, and you spend more time and you get more exposed. So as quickly as possible, before you set out, do proper journey management, plan your trip, look at those free routes or areas that you quickly take, do what you want to do, and get back home. When you hear news of unrest and violence from a particular area, please avoid such areas. Do not be too eager to go and see what is going on there. Please don't be a James Bond. Great Speed loves you so much. Then avoid staying close to windows of your office and homes, especially when shooting is going on. Avoid late night movements. The earlier you return to your home safely, the safer and better. Ensure you keep in touch with family and friends on a daily basis via phone calls. Continue to share valid information from different locations, and also warn as many people as you possibly can to avoid hot spots or flashpoints. Thank you for your attention and participation. So,
thank you, Mr. Fasasi. Thank you very much. We are going to.
Thank you, Mr. Fasasi.
We'll share the recording for the benefit of those that couldn't log in. We are going to share the link to the recording out so that everybody would have it and listen over and over again. Dr. Wilson, I don't know if you're still here. Dr. Wilson.
Yes.
Okay, so
thank you.
Let's hear a few words from you before we close.
Yes, thank you. I want to thank Mr. Fasasi, and I'm just really grateful that he is our CSO. You know, it's very important for all of us to listen to the advice of experts. You know, Mr. Fasasi is a security and safety expert. And so every decision that we make, you know, everyone needs to know that it's in consultation with Mr. Fasasi as the security expert. So even as we make decisions for next week, it's made as a team decision based on the advice of the experts. So we'll make an announcement soon about next week, and it will be an informed decision with safety first. You know, and so I really appreciate the tips that you just shared with us, Mr. Fasasi. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you, Mrs. Odenaya, for these sessions. It's so important that we get information like this at this time. So thank you very much.